What makes you feel more like a god of war than overcoming impossible challenges? Welcome back to a God of War Norse Saga boss ranking, where today we're discussing the titans of difficulty within the boss lineup. As the God of War series is all about facing legendary opponents, and I've already talked about the Norse Saga boss quality in depth, why not address which of the bosses are also the most challenging? We're only doing a top 5 as to cover the hardest of the hardest, and believe me, they are hard. As a note, there will be some spoilers in this ranking, but there will be no major plot beats covered in this video. Also, there are none of the 8 Valkyries from God of War 4, and none of the 12 Berserkers, even though these fuckers deserve condemnation. You'll see why after about 3 minutes of watch time. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 5, the rematch with Thor. The second fight with Thor in Ragnarok is a tense culmination of the epic rivalry between the two destroyer gods of these pantheons, and it lives up to the hype. After getting an epic taste of Thor's power in the first fight in the first hour of the game, the rematch ups the scales immensely, and not just because of Thor's hefty amount of kilograms. His speed is highly increased along with a lot more mobility, providing different attack angles. He constantly summons lightning around the arena as a perpetual hazard, and of course, it is always hammer time. Thor's damage is one of the highest that a story boss can output in these games, and you don't have a companion here to revive you or to help you inflict status. Thor's berserker nature leads him to be very aggressive, with his mightiest attacks hitting like a truck, and often being followed up in quick succession to finish off limping opponents if he hits you. The things that drag Thor down are mainly that his mega attacks are interruptible, and he has rather large windows of opportunity if you can make him miss to punish him, which I found easy enough to do by the endgame. He's still a large threat, and not just because of his belly, he's just by far the least threatening boss on the list today. Number 4, Hrist and Mist. If you saw my boss quality rankings, you know that I adore Valkyrie fights. However, all good things should be taken in moderation, so this tag team by Hrist and Mist is a little more than I can handle. This is the only boss on the list that I've never actually died to, and I'm honestly astounded that's the case. These winged warriors are ruthless. They fight using a combination of classic Valkyrie attacks and new moves to screw with your previous Valkyrie experience, and one of them even has a unique never before seen weapon, so you've got to learn that moveset on the fly. Get it? Because they have wings. In addition, they restore their health twice throughout the battle, and get stronger each time. They can also switch between Kratos and Atreus mid-battle to catch you off guard, and they can capture the teen and force you to save him. Balancing these winged maidens for 3 phases is a true test of endurance, even with your available healing abilities and 3 weapons. Surviving is a true matter of situational awareness, positioning, and consistent and accurate offense. The only saving graces are that Atreus consistently draws the attention of the Valkyrie that you're not fighting unless he's captured, so the battle is only occasionally a double team, and they do somewhat share a health bar, so you can blast one as hard as you can without worrying about needing to save up for the other Valkyrie. Even with those caveats, the Hrist and Mist fight is the hardest story boss in this saga by far, and definitely worthy of a spot in the top 4. And that's mainly because, as we're about to see, the top 3 is absolutely ridiculous. Number 3, Hrolf Kraki, King of the Berserkers. And now we talk about the bosses you all came here to see. When someone thinks, what are the hardest bosses in the God of War series, there are only 3 thoughts that should go through your head. 1. Ares is tedious. 2. Zeus from God of War 3 isn't actually that hard. And 3. Which God of War Norse superboss did I get railed by the most? Because any other choices besides these upcoming 3 are just incorrect. The King of the Lime Gatorade Monkeys is the 3rd place contender, but don't let that make you view him as weak. For example, each attack shaves off about a third of your health bar. King Hrolf Kraki is the fusion of all 12 Berserkers, except that he summons no minions and has no friends. He swaps between every weapon in melee style, uses and abuses every magic attack in rapid succession, and has a health bar so big it feels like he stuck all of their health together with flex tape. That's not a lot of damage. His relentless assault, high resistances, and sheer variety make him a real handful. And yet, I only lost to him once, and that death was solely my own fault. See, I tried going for a glass cannon build because damage is fun, only to be reminded that that statement goes both ways. After re-equipping my standard gear, I was able to defeat him on my second try, but it was a long and difficult brawl. However, the fact that you have 6 runic attacks and a relic to throw at him really helps mitigate the increased moveset and health that the king is packing. In addition, I'd already beaten the other super boss in Ragnarok by this point, so I had a powerful shield attachment and Freya at full power to throw at him, and you have been practicing for this fight by facing the other 12 Berserkers throughout the game. So while Hrolf is definitely a brutal fight, he's not quite the monarch of difficulty that he wants to be. That honor instead goes to our number 2, Gná, the current queen of the Valkyries come Ragnarok, and she more than earns that title. As opposed to being a fusion of 12 bosses and their movesets, Gná instead takes the base of the Valkyrie queen from the last game and adds so many unique wrinkles she ends up looking like a post-time wizard harpy lady. She uses Bifrost Blast to shave your health down, she employs diving stomps and quick twitch charges, and a lot of switch ups on her combos. The hardest part about fighting Gná is trying to figure out what move she's going to do next, because she always has at least 3 options to choose from at all times, and that's if she doesn't combo cancel and go do something else entirely. She also has unique attacks that require specific runic arrows to disrupt, a mechanic I always seem to be 1 arrow short for, and those attacks hit hard. I wasn't aware I was fighting Ningguang in this battle. Gná's health is also just as large, if not larger than Hrolf's, and she is much faster. Going into this fight expecting Sigrun 2 is going to get you clocked. Her moveset is different enough to definitely be counted as a fully unique boss. Her pressure exceeds that of any boss in Ragnarok. From close or afar, she's always capable of killing you in a matter of seconds. A slight caveat I will mention is that if I had beaten Hrolf first instead of Gná, I would have had the most powerful relic in the game to help me out here. Like how I had Freya's strongest move and the Valkyrie shield pommel to help me against the Berserker King. So there's a chance that could affect your experience depending on which one you slay first. However, even if I did have Skofnung, I doubt it would have made Gná much easier. She is a ridiculous boss that's balanced near flawlessly, and I can't wait to master the fight in the future. So what could possibly top all of that? How about Sigrun, Queen of the Valkyries? Yep, our number 1 is the original superboss of the God of War Norse saga, and I still believe she holds up after all these years. By now, we all know the deal. She's got the movesets of 8 different bosses rolled into one, with the ability to use any of their moves in any order she likes, as well as buff damage and health for the post-game. Her speed and fluid combos are second to none, and even with the practice of fighting the 8 Valkyries to reach her, you still need to deal with her enhanced physical attributes over a long-ass battle. With all this being common knowledge, the real question is not why is Sigrun number 1, but why is Sigrun number 1 over Gná? For one, in Ragnarok, Kratos is much stronger, with greater offensive relics and a whole new weapon with 2 extra runic attacks to use, whereas in God of War 4, you don't have nearly as many powerful attacking tools. For 2, I find Sigrun's moveset to be harder to deal with than Gná. Sigrun's move pool is ultimately more expansive as a result of her Valkyrie brethren, and even knowing all the tricks she can pull doesn't prepare you for the rough combinations she can choose to use. In addition, you still have to successfully counter and avoid them over a several minute battle, which is easier said than done. For 3, going off my most recent experience, I beat Gná in 7 tries on my first blind Ragnarok playthrough on the normal difficulty. I beat Sigrun in 3 tries on what must be my 6th God of War 4 playthrough on Give Me a Challenge. So based off those stats, why isn't Gná harder? Because I've been fighting Sigrun for over 5 years, with a gear build I know to be totally broken, and she still kicked my ass twice. In addition, the first time I fought Sigrun, I died at least 25 times before getting my first successful victory. The legacy of Sigrun humbling me, as well as her difficulty holding up even after all these years and with all my experience, cements her spot as the true Queen of the Valkyries, and a worthy number 1 to this list, and indeed, as one of the all-time video game boss difficulty champions. And with that, we're done with the ranking. What did you guys think of my choices? As always, difficulty is highly subjective, especially in a game with so many builds and playstyles. So please let me know your own choices in the comment section below, I'd love to hear them. Although any choice for the top 3 that isn't Hrolf, Gná or Sigrun will be met with extreme skepticism. I want to say thank you so much for the subscriber growth on the channel. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world for me to get there before my channel's 7th anniversary. I've got a few more videos in the works already that should be releasing throughout April, so stay tuned for those. As always, check my community tab for video updates and polls on upcoming projects, and I will see you all next time, very soon.